Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to TechByte on Salam Media. My name is Faizel Patel. I will be in your company until about 7:30 this evening. Remember, this program is being broadcast live on Salam Media's social media platforms and also on YouTube. So check this show live. And remember, if there's any interactions, you can post a comment in those platforms and we'll try to answer them as well. On the other level, you can also interact with me by sending me a tweet on at Faizel Patel 143. You can also get me on facebook.com/forward slash Faisal Patel. And I'm also on Instagram at Faisal Patel 143. And I also have my YouTube channel where some of the stuff that I'll be speaking about tonight is featured on my YouTube channel. So check out those videos. Hit the subscribe button and also like the videos. So last week we were speaking about a couple of phones that's going to be launched this week, and we also spoke about the Galaxy Fold, which I have in my hand here. As you can see, a brilliant device. I had some questions from Salam Media listeners about this as well. So let's go through that before we go through some of these stories. Now, the Galaxy Fold, a lot of people are asking me how much does it cost and what can you do with it? Well, you can do a lot. I can tell you that in this past week that I've managed to write and break stories using only the Galaxy Fold. Now, that's for a journalist. But if you are a businessman, if you are a rep, you're a sales consultant, any designation in any company, you can use the Galaxy Fold. And yes, I have to admit it is pricey, but it's a unique and very innovative device. But it is available on contract and you can get it on contract. So it's absolutely brilliant. And if you get the S Pen Pro, you can actually use it with a stylus as well. But you can check out that full video on my YouTube channel where I did a review of it and how I actually use it, right? So that's very important. If you need more questions on the Galaxy S Fold, just let me know as I mentioned in my tweet, or even drop Salam Media a comment, or even on the comment on this live feed that you are watching right now from Salam Media Studios here in Omondi. Now, last week I was speaking about a big, huge launch that was going to happen, and it was the Samsung Galaxy launch or the Samsung Unpacked launch. Now, I was one of the lucky few that attended this particular function. It was held at Stain City, that's near Four Ways, and it was the first function by Samsung in almost 2 years. It means a physical function where we actually attend the event. Now, I've got a lot of questions from people in the week prior to the event telling me that they want to upgrade their contract, but they want to wait and see what Samsung has unveiled. Well, I'm going to give you a sneak preview of what Samsung unveiled, but you can get a lot more details and you can actually watch that launch. I did do a video of it and it's on my YouTube channel, what it entailed. For those that haven't been to Stain City, for me, I was sort of overwhelmed by the place. It's a beautiful place. It's a secure complex. I mean, it's just absolutely massive. And the prices of the houses, let's not even go there. I seen a two-bedroom flat, just to detract from the topic we're discussing, for around 2.7 million rand. But I mean, absolutely secure. First time I've been there, and they got their own helipad and a whole lot of coffee shops, and everything is basically in that particular Stain City. And Samsung held the function there. So we did say that they're going to be possibly launching the S22, and that's exactly what they launched. They launched three devices. So they launched the S22, the S22 Plus, and the S22 Ultra. That's the three devices that they've launched. Now, if you didn't see the devices, I'm going to ask my engineer to put it up on the screen so you can see what that devices look like. So if you can see the picture on the screen, the black is the S22, the white, the S22 Plus, and the sort of rose gold color, the S22 Ultra. Now, let me share something with you. Most of the tech reporters will say that the tech or the S22 Ultra is basically a Note. So Samsung hasn't launched a Note in almost 2 years. And if I look at this device, I actually managed to play around with the three devices. This is a Note, basically, but they're not calling it a Note, they're calling it the Ultra. It does have a built in stylus, but it is absolutely beautiful. I mean, it's absolutely stunning if you have to actually play around with it. And you can get an idea of what the phone feels like if you watch my YouTube video. So please head on to the channel. So I'm going to give you some details about this particular device. The S22 and S22 Ultra basically feature the same design as last year's S21. So if you got a Samsung S21, it's more or less the same, but a lot more powerful features. And they got a new feature called the night feature. Absolutely brilliant. It takes wonderful, wonderful photographs, right? Now, on my website, Wired to Tech, also known as faizelpatel.com, you can get all the details of the specs of the phone there as well. The S22 Ultra, as I mentioned, is not a Note, but rather features a rectangular form factor curved screen. So a lot of people, you'll see some of my friends, especially Marcus Brownlee, MKBHD, Mr. Super Boss, and also Seth, Safwan Mia, who's a YouTuber from London, speaking about the S22 Ultra being a Note. But it's a wonderful device. I've played with it, and if you haven't renewed your contract, I'm going to tell you what Samsung is offering. So the Ultra features a quad camera array boasting, listen to this, 108 megapixel camera. That's 108 megapixels, 12 megapixel ultra wide, 10 megapixel telephoto, and 10 megapixel zoom shooter. And then coming on to price wise, I know a lot of you will be asking about price wise. They are expensive, right? So let's start off first with the S22. The S22 goes for 19,999 Rand. That is the basic version, right? Then you get the S22 Plus, which goes for around 22,999. And then the top of the range, the S22 Ultra, that's the one I was telling you about, which obviously a lot of people saying is a Note, goes for 29,999. Now, these are very expensive on contract. You're looking for anywhere between 600 Rand up to 1,000 Rand. But Samsung's got a massive and beautiful deal for those that are interested in getting these devices. So, what Samsung is saying that if you got any phone at home, whether it's a Samsung phone, whether it's an LG phone, whether it's an iPhone, any other phone that you got, and if you want the new S22 series, you can trade in that old phone for the new one. So for a new S22. And what did they say? And I'm going to actually quote one of the guys at the Samsung launch. They said, as long as it turns on, basically, as long as it switches on, they will offer, not guaranteed, they will offer up to 10,000 Rand for your trading. So if you're sitting with an S21, excuse me, if you're sitting with an S21, or you're sitting with an iPhone, or you're sitting with any other phone, and if you want to trade it in for the new S22, all you have to do is go to the Samsung website and they will be offering up to 10,000 Rand for your old phone as long as it switches on. So let's take an example. If you want the S22, right, and if you trade in your old phone, and if they give you 10,000 Rand for your old phone, that means you're only going to be paying 9,000 Rand for the new S22. And if you take that over a contract, then if you take 9,000 Rand divided by 24, it will come out to just, I think, if I'm not mistaken, probably around 300 in a month, probably less. Depends on the contract that you actually take. So I think that's a wonderful, wonderful deal. So have a look at that. And then Samsung is also giving away Galaxy S Buds for anybody that takes out or buys the new S22 series. Now, I know a lot of you are going to ask me about availability. The Samsung S22 series will be available from the 11th of March, but you can go onto the website and start pre-ordering. Now, as I mentioned, a lot of people ask me about the S22. So if your contract is up for renewal, one of the people that posed a question to me, and she's been on Salam Media a while, is Catherine Constantinidis. And she was asking me that the contract is up for renewal. What phone does she take? What will the S22 have? You can get a lot more detail and more features that I've mentioned, besides what I mentioned on air. You can get it on my website and on my YouTube channel. It's a wonderful, wonderful device. I mean, I enjoyed playing with it, and I really, really love this device. So check it out there. If you've got more questions, please drop me a tweet on my Twitter, on Instagram, also on Facebook, or even on this live feed. And as I mentioned, a good deal, 10,000 Rand for your old phone, right? And you can put that towards the new phone. And the details are on my website. So wonderful device there. Check out the launch. I've got a video of the launch, and you can get an idea of the helicopters that they had there, the devices and part of the launch, and what other features they may have. If there's any other questions, please let me know. Coming on to another device that was launched just a week or so before the Samsung device. Now, I know people are looking for smartphones. They always phone me or WhatsApp me and tell me, Faisal, I want a phone that got the best camera. I want the phone with the best screen. I want the phone with the best features, but I don't want to pay so much. I only want to pay 7,000 Rand. Now, we know that sometimes that could be virtually impossible. But there are phones out there that are so cheap that are comparing or competing with phones that are in the ranges of between 17 and 30,000 Rand. And the one I'm talking about, and I know you're going to have apprehension because I'm going to be speaking about the Huawei. So Huawei launched a new phone called the Huawei Y9. Now this Y9a, I apologize, Y9a. Now this, I mean, I was really, really impressed with this device. And I'm going to give you some specs because it is an amazing device. And I know you got an issue with the Google. I know you're going to ask me questions about the Google, but I'm going to explain to you about it, right? So, after much anticipation and excitement, the Huawei Nova Y9a, which is very affordable, friends, very, when I say very affordable, I'll come to the price now, and does not compromise on specs, is available on shelves in South Africa, and it's available on contract as well. So, this is the latest addition to Huawei's impressive Nova range. So, some of you may or may not be using a Nova. Now, this one, listen to this. It's If I come to the price, you're not going to believe me. It features a 64 megapixel main camera, an 8 megapixel ultra wide angle camera, a 2 megapixel dead camera, and a 2 megapixel macro camera. It's got a 6.63-inch 3D arc design, resulting in a 20 by 9 form factor. It closely resembles the feeling of a 5.5-inch smartphone. When I'm telling you, I played with this phone, it is absolutely stunning. Now, it is inspired by the natural colors of the sky. The Huawei Nova 9 Y9a comes in midnight blue and space silver. Now, there's so many other features. There's so many to mention, right? And you're not going to believe if I tell you how much this phone actually goes for. This phone is going for about 7,000 Rand. That's how much this phone is going for, 7,000 Rand. I mean, this is absolutely amazing. And on contract, you're looking at about 3,000, apologize, 350 to 400 Rand, depending on the contract that you actually want. So let's come on to the Google issue. Right, and you can see the phone on your screen. It's got a space ring design. That's what they call it, the space ring design. And it's got a full look at the screen from top to bottom, edge to edge. I mean, that is a real estate screen that is just absolutely brilliant, right? So let's come on to the Google issue. Now, Huawei gives us these phones to review. And a lot of questions, a lot of times people have asked me, yeah, Faisal, even my own aunt has asked me, you know what, I can't handle the no Google, I can't handle the Play Store, no Play Store, nothing. I promise, unless you're using more than the standard apps that you have, there is no need for the Play Store and there is no need for Google. If you use an iPhone, you don't use Google that much, you use Safari, and you can use any other browser. So, how does it actually work? Huawei's got their own Play Store. If you're using WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, and many other apps which they got on their Play Store, you download it as normal, but you don't. It doesn't come onto the App Store. They go to the site. When you download the app, it comes to your phone as a normal app. So basically, it works perfectly. And I promise, I used the one of the devices and I had no issue. I actually did a review. You can check it out on my YouTube channel. Now, the thing is, and I want to share this because we become so dependent and we become so sort of redundant and monotonous on using devices. We sort of schooled and we got this uniformity about just using something without exploring if there's better options out there. So now you got a better option, perhaps. I'm not saying it is, perhaps a better option, but do you really need Google? right? You can still get your Gmail, you can still use WhatsApp, you can still use Facebook, and you can still use Instagram. There's no issue. And if you think that maybe I'm pulling a fast one, check out my YouTube channel and you'll see the Huawei phone that I actually reviewed. I think it's absolutely brilliant. And for 7,000 Rand, dear friends, I think it is absolutely worth it. You're getting a top of the range phone. I mean, 64 megapixel camera, such beautiful features, and you're getting it at a fraction of the cost. Compared to the Fold that I showed you, which is 37,000 Rand, or you take the S22 Ultra, which is 29,999, those are top end phones, and a lot of people will be going for that. But if you can't afford the top end phone and you can only afford 7,000 Rand, then this is the phone to actually go for. There are others, you get Oppo and Vivo, but people sometimes want more value for their money. They want more features at a fraction of the cost. And this, I can tell you, is a wonderful device. Now, let's not go detract away. Samsung also has the Galaxy range, which is the A series, which also got a lot of features, and no doubt some of you will be using that as well. If there's any questions with regards, or if you've got any doubt, or you need assistance with regards to what phone to choose, or if you need advice on what phone to choose, you can drop me a tweet on it, Faizel Patel 143. You can even contact Salam Media through their various channels, and then they will pass it on to me, and we will try to answer those questions for you in the next show. And then finally, coming on to our last topic, and I think this is very, very important, dear brothers, sisters, and all those at home. I think, I can't overemphasize on being safe and secure online. This is something that a lot of people have grappled with. We're so vulnerable and we're so gullible that sometimes we just click on anything and everything. So I'm going to give you some advice. This one relates to 5 ways to keep your children safe online. But I want to break it up and make it even more broad spectrum, because online safety doesn't only apply to children, but applies to anybody and everybody, including you that are listening at home and you're watching this. No doubt you are streaming this program using a Wi-Fi connection. You're probably using a hotspot from somewhere. You may be even using your 3G or 4G or even 5G network. But how safe and secure is this? That's what you need to answer. And the thing is, it's not safe. All you have to do is go to YouTube and search for, scamsters, scamming, how these people are actually getting gullible people like you and me, then duping us into giving our passwords away and then stealing millions, stealing your passwords, stealing your money. It just becomes ridiculous. I know a few people at a previous radio station where I worked, where they didn't know what to do, and I assisted them to tell them, don't click on anything and everything. So let's start off with the first thing before I come to 5 ways to keep your children safe. If you're using Wi-Fi a lot, if you're at home, it's fine because it's your own network. But if you're using public Wi-Fi, whether at a shopping center or whether at a school or whether at a building or the building where you work, my suggestion is actually not even a suggestion. I urge you, get yourself a VPN. Now, for those that don't know, it's called a virtual private network, a VPN. They cost from as little bit as 1,800 Rand for a subscription for 2 years. So basically, what this do and what this does, to put it into a nutshell, if you're staying in South Africa and if you're connecting to a Wi-Fi network at a shopping center, right? What this VPN does is that it reroutes that connection through a different set of protocols and safety protocols, and it will route it through a different country. So it will make like you're not in South Africa, but maybe you're in Russia, in Saudi, or in England, or in America. So when the hackers try to get into your account, they don't know where you are because your IP address will be changed. Now, the IP address, that is the very important thing. Very, very important. If you look on your computer, if you're using a desktop or using a laptop, at the bottom corner, you always get an IP address. It starts like 192.1.6. Whatever it is, that is your IP. And how scamsters work, they call you or they WhatsApp you and tell you, oh, Mr. Patel, we're calling from India. We just see that your Microsoft password is expired. We need to upgrade your account. Can you please go to your corner of your screen and give us that password? And the minute you give them that, they log onto your computer, they steal your keystrokes. That means the last keystrokes that you typed in. They check your website, they steal your bank passwords, and they log into your bank, and before you know it, you're out of money. So please be careful. Emails from SARS, emails from banks, emails from companies advertising, do not click on it, especially banks and the revenue service. They will not do that. This is a phishing email or phishing scam. Now, phishing means same like phishing when you cast your rod. This fishes into your computer and steals your key logins and your passwords, right? So, coming on to the 5 ways to keep your children safe online. While we live in an age with phenomenal technological advancement and progress, the need to ensure that people are taking safety precautions, as I mentioned, when surfing the internet have become paramount importance. Please, guys, I urge you, if you're at home, we live in a technologically advanced world. Be safe, be secure, especially your children. Now, I'm not going to go through everything. If you want to check out the 5 ways to keep your children safe, go to my website, Wired to Tech, also known as faizelpatel.com, and I've got the list of the things that you need to do. And children are vulnerable. You need to look at, I don't know if you watched that movie, and I'm not promoting movies in any way. I want you to actually watch this documentary because it's very important. It's actually trending in South Africa at the moment. If you do have Netflix, right, watch this documentary. It's called The Tinder Swindler. It is trending in South Africa. I actually wrote a story on this. It's called the Tinder, Tinder. Tinder, we know, is a dating app or a matchmaking app. So it's called the Tinder Swindler. And this guy's name is Simon Lviv. And you must see the extent that this person goes to dupe and to scam 3 women out of millions and millions of rands. I mean, it's absolutely shocking how gullible these women were. And at the moment, currently on Netflix, in South Africa, on Twitter, if you go to Twitter, you'll see that the topic is trending. It is getting phenomenal response. So, as I mentioned, you need to be safe. Do not click, do not friend anybody that you know. Your children are very vulnerable. Children are so susceptible to clicking and making friends with anybody, giving the details out. I have my daughter in studio today, and you can't imagine how many times I've shouted her not to click on any link. I block her password and I block everything because, and I go through her phone. Very, very important. You need to see what your kids are up to. If you don't do that, they can put them, it can become very difficult. We've seen the kidnappings happening in the country. We need to be careful, dear brothers and sisters. So, uh, I'm going to go through the details quickly and then we'll conclude the show. Create fun and safe passwords. Don't use general passwords. Use a difficult password. You get programs that generate passwords. They call Pass Online or Pass Master. These are paid subscription services. They give you good solid password. Use access codes. Very important. Updates are your friend. If your computer, your WhatsApp, everything's update it because there's end-to-end encryption to ensure that people don't get in. Think before you click. Very important. Before you click on that link, phone me, WhatsApp me, and I'll tell you whether it's safe or not. Or phone the bank and see whether they have sent you an email or not. And beware of strangers on the net, especially for our young women, our youngsters, our sons, our children. As I mentioned, the Tinder Swindler. Have a look at it. If you got Netflix, check out this docu. You'll be shocked, and you'll WhatsApp me and you'll tweet me and let me know what you think, right? And then the strangers on the net, like I said, our children are vulnerable. You don't know, right? He's got a picture on himself, a smart guy, and this is exactly what Simon Lviv did. If you look at his profile picture, I mean, he's sitting in a Ferrari and on a boat and with chains and money and everything, and this guy is a damn thief. You know, he's a thief, he's a crook, and he's scamming people out. So check it out. So many video games, social networks, as I mentioned, now allow you to have conversations with people who are part of the online world. Although your child may think that the person who are they talking about the same age, they can never be certain. It's best if your child avoid any online conversation. So you could get somebody that looks all lovey and beautiful online, but it could be an old person, maybe a scamster or a thief that's online. How do you know if that picture is real? You don't know. So please, dear listeners, I urge you to be careful. Anyway, that brings us to the end of this week's Tech Bite. Remember that this program will be available on YouTube. If you missed anything, I will send out the tweet as well. You can also send questions to Salam Media. If there's anything that you need to know, they will pass it on to me, and then I will try to touch on it in the next program. If you feel that you want to send me messages directly, well, you can do it on Twitter at Faizel Patel 143. I'm on Twitter, on Instagram at Faizel Patel 143. I'm also on Facebook.com/Faizel Patel. And then my YouTube channel, whatever I spoke about today, especially as far as the phones are concerned, those reviews, those videos, the launches are all on my YouTube channel. Please do subscribe to the channel. It's very difficult to be a YouTube in South Africa. There's only a handful of us that really are doing well. So I need all your support, and I would urge and request, and I'll be humbled if I get the support of Salam Media listeners. And then you can also hit the likes on some of those videos as well. So until next time, I hope you enjoyed the show. Remember that I'll be back next week, the same time, with another installment of TechByte. So until then, please do take care of yourselves and each other. And remember to stay safe. Fi amanillah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.